Let's discuss SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Organic searches are the results of searches on Google or any other search engine for that matter. It is not a paid ad. So when you search for a private investigator, you will see the paid ads on top usually, then maybe a map with possible paid ads in there, and then below that are the organic searches and potentially more ads at the bottom of the page. In this example, you see one of my pages over here up in the map section at the top of the search. Remember, paid ads would be above this if there were any. And then the first searches below the map are the organic search results. Now, one of the key places to be in search results is in those top 5 organic search results on page number 1 in the searches. How do you do that is what we will discuss here in a second. And as an added bonus, I will later discuss how to get in that coveted Holy Grail area, the map section of Google right there on top. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Now, when we look at SEO at the most basic level, there is you, your website, there is the search engine like Google, then there is the person doing the search. SEO is all that fun magic stuff that happens behind the scenes that makes your page show up wherever it shows up in the results. So if your site is number 1 on Google, that is because of search engine optimization. If your site is on page number 892, that is also because of search engine optimization. I have heard estimates that over 75% of all searches on the internet are on Google, so that is what we're going to focus on for this tutorial. I will also focus on the right way to do SEO, not the cheater or the hacker's way to do it. There are shortcuts that sometimes work for a short period of time, but once the search engines catch on, then you get punished, and search engine punishment, folks, could be for life. So it's better to play it by the rules. Now, there is a lot that goes into SEO, but the single most important thing, folks, is content. Google or any search engine's primary goal is to connect users with relevant content. In order to do that, they use very complex AI systems, programs that try to determine what the user really wants and pairs it with websites that have the best possible match in content for that user. Now, given that, your website must have relevant content for your customers. Now, content goes hand in hand with keywords. Keywords are single words or phrases that your customers may use to find you and your services that you offer. Now, for my website, I'll use this as an example, evcoinvestigations.com. A huge primary keyword we target is Greeley Private Investigator. If you look on my website, you will see several instances of that key phrase being used, like need a Greeley Private Investigator, call a Greeley Private Investigator, things like that. Other key phrases are Colorado Private Investigator, surveillance investigations, process server. You need to identify the keywords and the phrases for your particular business, then build logical content that goes into your website in the form of sentences and paragraphs. Remember, you are talking to people with this content, not to search engines. Make them make sense. An example of this is like this. Need a Greeley Private Investigator, surveillance investigations, including workers' compensation, child custody, divorce, business fraud, and other surveillance investigations will be handled by one of our Greeley Private Investigators in a professional and discreet manner. We also provide legal, criminal defense, and fraud investigative services and TSCM, technical surveillance countermeasures, bug sweeps, as well as counter surveillance. Financial due diligence and other background investigation services are also provided. That is a mouthful for sure, but you need a lot of these mouthfuls, but they have to make sense and they can't be too repetitive or spammy. If you put in keywords or phrases too many times, Google may consider it as spam or keyword stuffing and penalize you for it. I usually suggest you use a keyword or phrase at least 3 times per page, that's per page on your website, and no more than 5, 6, or maybe 7 times on a page if there's a lot of content. You also should use derivatives of your keywords like private detective and investigator, as well as investigation. Like this, our Greeley private detectives are fair and honest and work diligently to solve your investigation. Your content can include all of your services that you provide and some details as to what they can expect, how you do it, and why you are the most qualified. I suggest you look at your competitors and see how they are using keywords and keyword phrases. Check out competitors in the top organic searches, not the ads, the top organic searches in your market area. Now, don't copy them, but you can use them for examples. Another big thing you need to do is help Google know you are real. This is a challenge, folks. You want to do this by changing content. When I started, I did this by rewording the actual content slightly about once a week. That helps to a point, but the biggest thing that I did was I created a blog on my website and I wrote an article daily for a few weeks. Then I wrote 2 or 3 articles a week for a few months, and then I started writing 1 article a month. These are good newsy type articles with private investigator content in them, sort of like white papers. One thing you may hear a lot about with SEO is metatags. These are tags built into the code for search engines to look at and determine what your site is all about. I do always suggest you use metatags, but keep in mind they are not the end-all do-all as they were once years ago. Metatags look something like this over here. Title: AFCO Investigations. Meta name description, content, surveillance private investigators in Colorado. Keywords: surveillance, comma, private investigator, comma, Colorado. This is just a sample, but it should give you an idea of what meta tags look like. Now, if you are using a WordPress site, then meta tag information is entered somewhere in the SEO portion of WordPress. If you are working in straight HTML, you need to put in some code like this. Now let's take a look at links. Search engines love links. When? Those links are tied to content relevant sites. Content relevant sites are sites that have similar content. So if you join your state PI association, you will usually get a link from their site to your site. This is huge content relevant inbound link. Search engines also pay more attention to inbound links than to outbound links. However, outbound links can help boost your rankings as well. I suggest a link to your state association if you're a member, and link to other sites that have relevance to the PI industry. Now, don't infringe on any copyrights doing this. If you're not a member of an association, don't use their logo. Another good outbound link would be to your state's licensing authority page for private investigators. Now, make sure you don't fall for those link directories out there. You will be contacted by them, I can assure you of that. And if you go to their site, they have lots of PI websites listed, maybe even some of your competitors. These sites make promises to drive traffic to you, but trust me, seldom will that ever happen. If the site looks like it has good content, it might not hurt to pay them a little to have a link to your site for a short period of time, like maybe a year or two. But go into that knowing that you will probably never get traffic from them. You are just really paying for that inbound link from a content relevant site. You could also partner with other PI firms or other PIs in your region or other specialty areas and share links. So if you do surveillance and you know another PI that does accident reconstruction, perhaps the two of you can link to each other's site, which would help both of you out. Okay, now listen carefully. Here are the steps you need to get listed on the map section in Google. Go to Google My Business. If you do not have a Google My Business page, then set one up right now. Next, you will want to go to the Add a New Location on the business homepage. Enter your business name and your physical address. Then you drop a pin. Then you go to confirm your business details. Then you must verify your business. This is usually done with the process of Google mailing you a card with a code. When you get that code in the mail, then you go back onto your business page and you enter that code, and shortly after that, sometimes it can take a few days, you will be listed in the map section. Now, some things to consider. It is still a ranking game. So the higher ranked sites will rank higher on the maps. So you may be down a ways. However, most people do not know how to get on the maps, nor do they want to go through the trouble to do it. So you have an edge on them. And Google does give more relevance to sites that are map listed than those that are not. Another thing to keep in mind, if you are officed at home, I highly suggest do not use your home address here. If you do not have a physical office, go get a virtual street address for your business.